Hey guys, we made it to the destination. We're just about to go in. I'm gonna show you the outside. Where's mom? We decided to film on the phone because it is raining, so we don't want to mess up the camera or anything. Where's Malcolm X?
Is that Frederick Matt Turner?
Oh.
My name is Kwame. Yes, ma'am. I was born on Saturday. Yeah, so I'm going to be your site guide here at Assin Manso Slave Market in the riverside. This particular site happened to be the last place our ancestors who were held captives took their last ever bath before they were moved to the various dungeons along the coast and eventually shipping them out of this place. Before we start, in the memories of our lost ancestors, those we lost from the hinterlands walking to get to this place, from here to the dungeons, through the middle passage to the unknown world, I would like us to have a minute of silence in their memories. After that, I say may their souls rest in perfect peace. Mostly we respond by saying Ashe. So please, let's have a minute of silence. May the spirits of our lost ancestors rest in perfect peace. Ashe. Alright, so let's keep walking on the beach. This particular side of the featured area happens to be one of the 63 slave markets. In terms of the slave market we have started on this continent, Ghana alone had about 63 of them. So back then when Ghana used to be called Gold Coast, we had several kingdoms. Among them we had the Ashantis, the Bonos, the Dentra people, and several among them. They were fighting among themselves just to expand their territories. And due to that, Gold Coast stretched to part of Togo, Burkina Faso, and then Ivory Coast. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. They don't have this kind of big rivers there. So they couldn't cross the river by swimming. Very few of them were helping each other out. But it got so many of them drowned. All those who drowned, they were buried just at the bank of the river before they proceeded to get to this place. throughout the journey, the women were treated unfairly, brutally. Aside them being raped, they were subjected to several other treatments. One, when they were going through the journey for 70 solid days, every matured woman will have to go through the cycle. So they needed to stop them from bleeding or flowing. So what they do was that they would go to the trees, chop the back of it, pull the fiber part of it, and heat it until it turns a little bit fluffy. They open their thighs and then push it down there, just to block the blood from coming out. Painful. So they needed to shut them up. Shutting them up, they were using stone treatment or the metal mask treatment on them. Whenever they were crying because it's painful and all that, they needed to shut them up, so they pick stones that are a little bit wider than their mouths, force it in there, and then had it tied around their necks. If they don't have that, they go gathering bunch of leaves, forcing it there before they cover it up with the metal mask. That way, you can shed tears, but nobody hears your voice. They got here exhausted, hungry, and very dirty. It was here that they saw the need for them to be fed. Maximum 14 days, they were fed. But people say, well, was it that they were hungry? No. They knew they were hungry all this while. Why feed them here? That's because they realized how skinny they've grown to be. So now they needed to fatten them up so that the buyers coming from the various dungeons will look at them and then see some attractiveness and then purchase them at a higher cost. Because there's going to be bargaining, and then people will raise their stakes very high. So then you need to get somebody who is up to that standard. So they took 14 days to feed them here. After the 14 days, they now go into the chains and shackles. All those men with their hairs and beards bushy, mostly those that are entangled, had to be shaved off. And then mostly they use the broken bottles or sharp knives to shave them off. Once that was done, they sorted them out according to age and gender. To determine their age, they have this particular tool they use to measure between the eyebrow and their nose. If they don't use that, they are going to use the specular oris. They force it flat like this into your mouth, and they keep turning this side until it turns more open. Then they count your teeth, determine your age group. Once that was done to them, they now move them to the river for their final bath. So please, this is the way to the river. That's where we are going to go right now. The path is not the exact thing that our ancestors left from. So mostly when Africans return back to this land, this particular land or this particular site is considered as to them as their pilgrim. So most of them would like to start base, ground themselves in the spirit of their ancestors. So most of the videos we have on YouTube, you see so many of them walking barefoot to get to the river. They want to connect and then actually absorb the energies of the space. You know how strong our ancestors were. So they will feel like they want to get that and then connect with them. So that's why we do take barefoot to walk. We needed to clear the path for that particular thing. We have widened it out because initially it was very narrow. Whilst walking through, they got so many scratches on their bodies, and we don't want that for any of our brothers and sisters coming back in. So that's why we've been widening up. So So this is it, the ancestral slave river. We have two different rivers that joins before they move all the way into the ocean. There is one from this side, and when you look down there, you think, or you see it looking more whitish or greenish, coming from the left-hand side. Then we have this side, it's more brownish or more cleaner or clear than the other one. This river is what we call the Ndonkonsio. Ndonkonsio, meaning slaves. Then we have the other side called the Oche River. That means something that grabs. So when the ancestors were brought to this side for their last ever bath, they were never allowed to go to that portion of the river. The one coming from the upper side flows with high current. And this particular one looks more calm, but flows gently. So when they brought them here, they took them to this side for them to be washed. They got there, their hands were still tied. They couldn't use it to clean themselves up. The best way for these captors is to cut the bamboos with the help of the issue leaf. They were using that as a form of brush to clean them up. Cleaning them with that got them bruised and all those bruises. They brought them up here, got them lined up, and then allowed them a couple of minutes. After that, they got dried, and then they apply shea butter or palm oil on them for them to look more presentable and attractive for the buyers to come and pick. The buyers already on their ways had their branding tools to just give them the markings to show that they belong to these people. The identity has to be determined by using the branding tool. So those who were purchased were moved and then branded for the very first time. So that picture is an illustration that we left up there just for people to see. And then those who were left in the chains were classified in quotes as useless commodities. They never saw the next daylight. They were killed right here by gun. After killing them, they took their bodies into the interior, this side and the other side, and dumped them into a pit. The pit was kept open. Whenever they come here to sell, those who will be left will be kept and killed and dumped into the pits. I prefer to call the place the bamboo slave dumping site. That's because they were never buried. They were only dumped in there. A lot of people want to call it the bamboo cemetery. Well, everybody has a right to his or her opinion, so allow them to call it the way they want to. So that's it. We have this pillar painted black. You know, a lot of Africans in the diaspora will see this on the internet, and it's sending just one message. In times of our history, this dark color is representing the darkest time in our history, when our ancestors were in chains and shackles. So we want you to see this as a message. Never forget that your ancestors were once in chains and shackles, just for us to be here today. And we created this particular portion of it in 2019 as part of the year of return. This particular pillar was erected. We call it the first bath of return, or the sign coffer birthright healing bath. So we are all trying to get back to our roots. That's what Sankofa is trying to say. Going back to retrieve something that we left behind. And I always say that our ancestors left a lot of things behind, most especially their true identities. Who they truly are, they left behind because their names were changed before they moved them out of this place. These Europeans realized that if they should take them to the unknown world with their names, they will know where they are from. So then they have to change their names and give them the slave names. They live with those names. Today we have those names as our last names. So now that we are coming back home, there is a ritual bath that is common among all communities here in Ghana, where we use the herb called serasi or nyenya to purify people. Mostly they do that during festivals to spiritually cleanse you and then fortify you. It's a very powerful herb that keeps away bad energies. So mostly when people call us that they would like to take the ritual bath, we have that particular ritual connected to the river, and then we get them there to wash them. So that's why we call this place the first bath of return. Yeah, it doesn't mean we didn't take a bath in the ritual, but this is a spiritual connection, the first actual bath of connecting back to the roots. So that's why we get down there. With this, we will only go down there. If you want to step in, you just take your flaps off, your sandals off, and then you step in.